On the night of February 2nd, 1990, the Lambert Volunteer Fire Department responded to a house fire in the nearby town of Walnut, Mississippi. Before the fire gutted the house, firefighters managed to pull out the four burnt bodies of the Parker family. Initially, they believed that the family had only passed from smoke inhalation. Little did they know, they had stumbled upon one of the most twisted and overlooked crimes you'll ever hear about. This is the Parker family massacre. A few hours earlier, Carl Parker, his wife Bobby Jo, son Gregory, and daughter Charlotte Jo had been returning home from their church Bible study around 9 p.m. This would be the last time they would be seen alive. Upon arriving home, they were met with two black intruders. These cretins were Anthony Carr and Robert Simon Jr., aged 24 and 26 respectively. The intruders overpowered the family, quickly binding them with household items before beginning torture. The men took turns raping the 9-year-old Charlotte Jo before hacking off Carl's ring finger in order to steal the band. Carl, in a rage many people may never experience in their life, had nearly amputated his wrist through the thick, rounded extension cord that binded him. Just think about that for a second. It is underreported on what the men did to Gregory and Bobby Jo. However, Bobby Jo's burnt body was found on a destroyed box spring mattress in a bedroom away from the family, so do with that information as you must. After the men finished brutalizing the family, they shot each member in the back, killing them all except for Charlotte, who survived 3 shots to the back and hip. Authorities determined that her death was caused by smoke inhalation, while the rest of the members died from the gunshot wounds. The men stole Carl's pickup truck and fled the scene. Later, Clarksdale resident Eddie Lee Sparrows observed the stolen truck parked near an abandoned house and called the police. When authorities arrived, they shone a spotlight on the truck, and 2 black men were seen fleeing. The pickup truck was parked near Simon's mother-in-law's house and was filled with stolen material from the Parker house. Simon's wife, Martha, later testified Carr has been staying with her and Simon in an apartment in Memphis, and that she encountered Carr multiple times in Clarksdale shortly after the murder. During these encounters, Carr admitted to driving the truck, said it contained stolen items, claimed to have money, and disclosed where he discarded keys and clothing. The police searched the Memphis apartment and discovered more stolen items from the Parkers. Simon and Carr were located and arrested by authorities on February 9th in Marks, Mississippi. Unsurprisingly, Carr and Simon both had criminal records before that night. Simon had grand larceny and arson charges from when he stole and destroyed a Dodge van in 1987. The same year, he nearly scored an aggravated assault charge from when he allegedly shot a guy in the back with a shotgun. Carr also had a previous grand larceny charge from stealing a drive shaft in 1989. Quitman County, the county where the men were being held, had to borrow $250,000 and raise their taxes in order to pay for the legal defense of the men. Questions began to arise about the possibility of other people being involved. Simon's statements were initially redacted by prosecution, entire paragraphs being blacked out, hiding the name of the person who Simon claims hired him and Carr to kill the Parkers. An officer named Charlie Payton, Simon also claimed had been working for this big boss. Another officer named Officer Self, who had been the first officer to interrogate Carr, was also implicated in these redacted statements. Carr later argued that this redacted information could have helped his defense or allowed him to challenge witnesses, but the courts ruled he could have attained the names himself, and it likely would not have changed the outcome. While the two were held at a county jail, an inmate named Anthony Washington was placed in a cell near Carr. The men began talking, and Carr disclosed what he was in for. Later, while playing a game of cards, Washington claimed Carr said they had a ball murdering the Parkers. Another time, Carr had came back from a blood test and asked Washington if he could ask him something brother to brother. Carr asked if it was possible to tell if he had raped Charlotte, and that they had tried to burn the house down in order to destroy that evidence in particular. Washington's testimony would later become part of the case, though Carr's defense argued that jailhouse snitch testimony is unreliable, hence it was dropped. Carr's attorneys attempted to overturn his death penalty with the argument that he was intellectually disabled, so he'd be barred from being executed. However, upon a 2013 evaluation, the psychologist determined it was too close to call. His sentence was upheld until 2016, when the Mississippi Supreme Court overturned the ruling due to the lingering uncertainty on Carr's ability. However, he is still on death row to this day. Days before Simon's set execution on May 24, 2011, he attempted to fake mental incompetence, citing a brain damage from a memory fall. Hours before this execution, it was halted in order to consider his claim. However, in 2015, a judge ruled he had been lying. Simon appealed this, which caused problems when the state attempted to schedule another execution in 2023. Simon's attorneys cited unresolved questions about his mental incompetence and alleged inadequate legal representation. The Supreme Court ordered Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Finch to respond by December 20th of 2023. As of 2025, the issue remains unresolved. Carl Parker's remaining sons, Dean and Scott, had been making comments about the pain in legal proceedings for years. Unfortunately, they will never be able to see any true form of justice. On October 31st, 2016, Dean Parker passed away from cancer. On September 8th, 2021, Scott Parker passed away from COVID-19. Sid Salter from the Magnolia Tribune had interviewed Scott about the murders only a month before he passed away. In a follow-up article, he says, "There is something wrong with a judicial system that allows 31 years to pass before crimes are punished as a jury direct. I think Scott Parker struggled with that knowledge on a daily basis, and that maddening struggle cost him dearly in mind, body, and soul. May the Parkers rest in peace."